In the world of One Piece, there are hundreds of different devil fruits, each granting the users extraordinary abilities and power. But did you ever wonder which devil fruits are the absolutely strongest in the entire series? Well, you're gonna find out today, as we'll be explaining the top 20 strongest devil fruits in One Piece. And let's start with the one most of you probably forgot about, the Doku Doku no Mi, eaten by Impel Down's warden, Magellan. This Paramecia type devil fruit allows Magellan to produce and control poison, and even grants him immunity to it. Although it sometimes looks like Magellan can also transform his body into poison like Logia users, that's not really the case, as he can only create poison from his body and not transform into it. Magellan was shown using this devil fruit in many unique ways, like traveling through prison by creating poison tubes, covering himself with a thick layer of poison, or using it as a shield, or even creating big monsters out of poison, such as hydras or demons. During the pre-time skip, Doku Doku no Mi seemed unstoppable, and Magellan was able to defeat many strong fighters with ease, like Luffy and Blackbeard. This fruit doesn't really have any major weaknesses, but the user has to be careful while using it next to his allies, as he could accidentally poison them if he loses control. Number 19. Mori Mori no Mi. Mori Mori no Mi is a Logia type devil fruit that allows the user to create, control, and transform into flora. It was eaten by Aramaki, better known as Admiral Greenbull. Unlike most other Logia devil fruits, this fruit turns the user into a solid element instead of a fluid. This means that the user is unable to let attacks pass through their body, though said attacks are still harmless to them as they can simply regenerate from wounds like any other Logia. In case the user's entire body is destroyed at once, they'll simply regenerate by spouting out of the ground like a plant. During combat, Greenbull utilizes this fruit primarily to restrict targets, either wrapping vines around them or capturing them with underground root tentacles. So far, the only known weakness of this devil fruit is fire, but even that can be nullified, as with enough training, the user can make his body fireproof. Although we don't have much information about this fruit, as we've only seen Greenbull fight once, it's certainly powerful enough to earn a place on this list. 18 more incredibly powerful fruits are left, and let's continue with Fire Logia, the Meta Meta no Mi. Meta Meta no Mi was initially wielded by Ace, but after his death, it was eaten by his brother, Sabo. In addition to the usual Logia abilities, it also burns an opponent if they try to physically harm the user, while most other Logias the attack would just phase through. This devil fruit is really strong offensively, with the user being able to unleash devastating fire-based attacks and use flames to increase the force of physical strikes. This is best seen in Ace's signature Fire Fist attack, which greatly increases the size of his fist and turns it into fire. Despite its aggressive attacking power, the Meta Meta no Mi is unable to win against certain other Logia powers, like Smoke or Ice for example, as their clash would just go on indefinitely with no clear winner. However, an even worse counter to this fruit is Akainu's Magu Magu no Mi, which completely overpowers it due to magma being hotter than fire. Before we continue, there's one bonus devil fruit I'd like to cover, the Sub Sub no Mi, a special devil fruit that allows me to make anyone subscribe to the channel. Go on, click it. Anyway, next up is Hobi Hobi no Mi, a Paramecia type devil fruit eaten by sugar that allows the user to transform living people into toys by touching them and erasing memories of their existence from others. As if that's not powerful enough, it also allows the user to create a contract with the victims, forcing them to follow their every order. In addition, victims appear to lose their physical strength when becoming toys, being limited to the capacities of whatever body they now may have. However, if the victims were skilled fighters before becoming toys, that fighting knowledge is still retained. The user can take advantage of this by commanding toys that were skilled warriors in their true form to protect them. Although this fruit is ridiculously powerful, it has a few weaknesses. For example, killing or knocking the user unconscious will immediately cancel all transformation and memory modification effects. Also, the user needs to be very careful when creating contracts with the victims, as those can be easily exploited via loopholes. Number 16. Zushi Zushi no Mi. Zushi Zushi no Mi is a Paramecia type devil fruit that allows the user to manipulate gravity. It was eaten by Isho, better known as Admiral Fujitora. Using this fruit's abilities, Fujitora can move pretty much anything, ranging from debris to massive battleships. The range of this gravity field appears to be incredibly big, as it can even pull down meteors from outer space. Fujitora was also shown capable of canceling Earth's natural gravity, which allows him to simulate flight. We've seen this when he made himself fly on a small rock and levitate alongside his men on a ship. Fujitora's signature technique during combat is called Gravity Blade, and using it, he can channel gravitational forces through his sword and unleash them simply by moving his weapon. He used this during the Dressrosa arc against Don Quixote pirates, pinning them to the ground and creating a huge hole. However, even this power is not impeccable, as gravity can be disrupted by attacking Fujitora, as shown when Zoro used a projectile slash to interrupt the Admiral, enabling him to escape. Additionally, some people can resist gravity if they're physically strong enough to maintain a hold of their current location. I don't know about you guys, but it's crazy to me that there are 15 fruits left that are even stronger than this one. Number 15. Goro Goro no Mi. Gomu Gomu no Mi is a Logia-type devil fruit that allows users to manipulate and turn into lightning. It was eaten by an L, and according to Robin, it's one of the few powers touted as invincible. As pure lightning, an L is intangible and can let most attacks phase through him harmlessly. By fully turning into electricity, he can also move at lightning speed, allowing him to zip in and out of sight, cross large distances instantaneously, and overtake any fleeing target. The most interesting thing about this devil fruit is that the user can even restart their own heart with electricity should they need to. Even by Logia standards, this fruit seems remarkably strong, possibly because of the sheer destructive power of lightning as an element. While pretty much unstoppable, the Gomu Gomu no Mi's ability does have a unique weakness in the form of rubber, which makes whoever ate the Gomu Gomu no Mi its natural enemy. All of Enel's lightning attacks had zero effect on Luffy, and Luffy's physical blows could completely bypass Enel's intangibility. Another possible counter to this fruit would be Haki, but as Enel was a pre-time skip villain, we don't really know how effective Haki would be against him. Number 14. Nikyu Nikyu no Mi. The Nikyu Nikyu no Mi is a Paramecia type devil fruit eaten by the former warlord Bartholomew Kuma. The first and foremost ability of this fruit is that the user can push virtually anything they touch into bubbles. This includes both tangible things like people and objects, but also intangible things such as hollows, pain, and even memories. These bubbles can later be stored and accessed by anyone who touches them, causing that person to feel whatever was stored inside them. We first saw this when Zoro offered to consume all of Luffy's pain from the bubble in order to save his life. This fruit also offers the user an incredible defense during combat, allowing them to deflect any attack. They can also perform offensive maneuvers, such as repelling the air around them at very high speeds. These attacks are so powerful that they can even leave paw-shaped imprints on rocks. One major weakness of this fruit is that the user can only activate it using his bare hands, meaning if the user's hands are occupied or is caught off guard, they will receive the damage from the attack. Number 13. Pika Pika no Mi. Next is Pika Pika no Mi, another Logia-type devil fruit that allows the user to transform into light. It was eaten by Borsalino, better known as Admiral Kizaru. With Pika Pika no Mi, Kizaru can utilize light-based attacks, such as shooting laser beams from his hands, fingers, or feet, or even throwing physical attacks that connect at light speed, which can cause devastating damage. However, since the fruit is light-based, all of his laser attacks can only travel in straight lines, same as light itself. Like Enel, Kizaru can also travel at the speed of light and instantly reflect himself to any desired location. Using this ability, he can completely bypass almost any attack, even gunshots fired from meters away. If he for any reason doesn't dodge the attack, it'll simply go through him, same as any other Logia power. The fruit's power can only be nullified with strong Haki, shown when Rayleigh temporarily bypassed Kizaru's intangibility and diverted his attack to save Luffy and his crew. Number 12. Hie Hie no Mi. As the Ice Logia, this fruit allows its user to transform into the element of ice, as well as create and control it on a massive scale. For example, Aokiji can freeze the surface of the ocean and then casually ride across it on his bike. He could also freeze 2 tsunamis during the Marineford War, saving the Marines from Whitebeard's attack. However, Aokiji's biggest achievement with this power was battling Admiral Akainu for 10 full days and permanently warping the very climate of an island, turning it into a frozen, uninhabitable wasteland. Although this fruit has many cool abilities, it definitely shines when it comes to combat, with Aokiji being able to create ice weaponry or freeze his opponents with physical contact. He can create enough ice to freeze a giant, a sea beast, and even Whitebeard temporarily. Hie Hie no Mi is also one of the few fruits in the entire series that can prevent the user from drowning in the ocean, as the user can just create an ice platform on the surface and stand on it. Number 11. Tori Tori no Mi, Model Phoenix. Tori Tori no Mi, Model Phoenix, is the first mythical Zoan-type devil fruit we were introduced to in the series, and as you can probably guess, it allows the user to transform into the Phoenix. This fruit was eaten by Marco, the former First Fleet commander of the Whitebeard pirates. As with all Zoans, this fruit grants Marco a significant boost to his overall physical abilities, and as a bird Zoan, Marco is also given the ability to fly. However, the strongest ability this fruit grants to the user is to produce the blue flames of resurrection. By cloaking himself in flames, Marco can rapidly regenerate all injuries inflicted on him, much like how a phoenix is said to rise from its own ashes. Marco can also spread the flames onto others around him, helping them recover from their injuries, although to a smaller extent. Although these flames can heal Marco from pretty much anything, there is a limit to it, and therefore the user is not truly immortal. With this fruit covered, we're only halfway through the video, and from here on, the fruits are going to get insane. Number 10. Soru Soru no Mi. Soru no Mi is a Paramecia type devil fruit that allows the user to interact with and manipulate human souls. It was formerly eaten by Carmel and later obtained by Big Mom. This fruit is, without a doubt, one of the strongest fruits in the entirety of One Piece. Its power of soul manipulation consists of manifesting and drawing out the souls of people who feel fear. The user can extract the victim's soul by grabbing and pulling it out, effectively stealing the victim's lifespan. Another interesting thing is that the user can choose how much of a victim's lifespan they want to take. It's possible to steal decades of a person's life at once, or even just mere seconds. Another unique ability of the Soru no Mi is allowing the user to infuse objects with soul fragments, granting them intelligence as well as the ability to speak. Almost anything can be infused with a soul, including plants, food, furniture, light, and even living animals. Big Mom refers to these beings as homies, and according to her, the more powerful the individual the soul was taken from, the more powerful the resulting homie will be. The one major weakness of this fruit is that its powers can be easily avoided if the victim doesn't feel any fear towards the user, shown in Jinbei's and Big Mom's case where she couldn't take Jinbei's soul because he didn't fear her in the slightest. Number 9. Hito no Mi. Model Daibutsu. Hito no Mi Model Daibutsu is a mythical Zoan type devil fruit that allows its user to transform into Buddha. It was eaten by Sengoku, the former fleet admiral of the Marines. We don't really have much information about this fruit as Sengoku used it only once throughout the entire show, but from the looks of it, it seems to be primarily used for combat. Like other Zoan devil fruits, Hito no Mi grants Sengoku incredible physical strength and allows him to contend with some of the strongest fighters in the series. When utilizing this fruit, Sengoku's limbs grow out of proportion, giving him abnormally large arms and relatively tiny legs, while his entire body takes on a solid gold hue. During the Marineford War, Sengoku used his Buddha form to increase the power of his punches and even launch golden shockwaves from his palms. These attacks can cause heavy and widespread damage to a group of enemies and were strong enough to injure Luffy and even the Blackbeard pirates. Number 8. Mogu Mogu no Mi. Mogu Mogu no Mi is another Logia type devil fruit, and this one allows the user to turn into magma. It was eaten by Sakazuki, better known as Fleet Admiral Akainu. Even when compared to other Logias, which are powerful in their own right, the Mogu Mogu no Mi possesses unmatched offensive power, which even the creator of One Piece stated that if Akainu wanted to find One Piece, you could do it in 1 year. Same as Aokiji, Akainu is also capable of changing the climate of an entire island using his power, turning it into burning lands. Despite allowing most of the attacks to harmlessly pass through the user, due to the fruit's natural element, it can also seriously burn anyone who tries to physically touch Akainu, and in some cases it can also melt weapons that come into contact with him. Akainu proved just how powerful this fruit really is during the Summit War, where he fought against many strong pirates like Ace, Jinbei, Ivankov, and even Whitebeard. His signature attacking move is transforming his fist into magma and sending it towards his opponents. He can also make multiple magma fists and send them into the air, similar to volcanic eruption. Aside from the standard devil fruit weakness, the powers of Mogu Mogu no Mi doesn't seem to be weak against anything specific. Even in Akainu's battle against Aokiji, who should have some advantage over him due to his ice powers, he still came out victorious. Number 7. Uo Uo no Mi. Model Seiryu. Uo Uo no Mi. Model Seiryu is a mythical Zoan-type devil fruit that allows the user to transform into the Ozir Dragon. He was eaten by one of the former emperors of the sea, Kaido. Besides the transformation, this fruit gives the user many supernatural abilities, the most out of any mythical Zoan fruit seen so far. The most prominent is the power to conjure flame clouds, with which the user can travel through the air using them as footholds. Additionally, the user can create and control various elements, the most commonly seen one being fire, sending a scorching blast that the user breathes out, which can instantly decimate large structures. Aside from the flames, the user can also launch lightning bolts while roaring and cutting blades of wind while blowing, on top of stirring up strong, fast-rotating tornadoes. Besides the ability to turn into a full dragon, the user of Uo Uo no Mi can also transform into a smaller human dragon form, which is much more suited for close combat encounters. And even in this form, the user retains access to their elemental attacks, like Fire Breath. Same as the previous fruit on the list, this one doesn't have any specific weaknesses. The only one being that the user needs a lot of space to transform into his full dragon form and is a bit limited in enclosed spaces. Number 6. Gura Gura no Mi. Gura Gura no Mi is considered to be the strongest Paramecia type devil fruit in the entire series, allowing the user to create strong vibrations and quakes. It was initially eaten by Whitebeard, but upon his death, its power was stolen by Teach. The user of this fruit can devastate entire islands with ease, create massive tsunamis and earthquakes, and even crack the air itself. During the Marineford arc, Whitebeard used the powers of this fruit to fight against multiple admirals, and although all of his battles were interrupted, he seemed stronger than each one. This fruit is said to be powerful enough to destroy the entire world, and even some of the highest-ranking Marines were terrified of what Whitebeard might do. Vice Admiral Suru even stated that there would be no safe place left in the world if the full powers of Gomu Gomu no Mi were activated. We arguably never got to see its true power yet, as Whitebeard was undeniably holding back due to his entire crew being at Marineford, and Blackbeard lacked enough control to use it to its full potential. Number 5. Yami Yami no Mi. Yami Yami no Mi is by many considered to be the strongest Logia-type devil fruit in the entire series. This fruit allows the user to create and control darkness at will, and it was eaten by the current Emperor of the Sea, Blackbeard. This fruit is considered unique, even for a Logia type, and the ability it grants is said to be the most evil. The darkness this fruit creates is visually demonstrated as a black smoke-like substance spreading out from the user's body. Since darkness is said to devour and crush everything, the user can use it to absorb physical matters and attacks of any type and even pull opponents towards him. Similar to a black hole, the user can absorb things inside a vortex, which Blackbeard used to suck an entire town into himself, and when he eventually regurgitated it, everything that was expelled was reduced to scraps. Interestingly, living beings who are absorbed seem to be able to survive but become heavily wounded and left in shock by the experience. However, what truly separates this fruit from any other is the unique ability to absorb and completely nullify the powers of other devil fruit users by simply touching them. All types, be it Paramecia, Zoan, or Logia, are affected by this. Number 4. Overpowered no Mi. Overpowered no Mi is a Paramecia-type devil fruit that grants the ability to freely manipulate and remodel anyone or anything. This fruit was formerly held by a certain famous doctor, but later consumed by Trafalgar Law. By creating a spherical force field centered around the user, they gain control over everything inside that territory, from living beings to non-living objects. As Smoker put it, the Overpowered no Mi's user becomes the surgeon, force field the operating room, and those caught inside are the patients on the operating table. Overpowered no Mi can literally be used in hundreds of ways, but some ways Law uses this fruit are swapping the locations of two targets, slicing people apart without actual injury, permanently taking out people's organs without harm, or even creating electric shocks to destroy people's bodies from the inside. Although this fruit is not as offensively strong as some of the other fruits on the list, it has one more unique ability that makes it the ultimate devil fruit. In exchange for the user's own life, Overpowered no Mi can grant someone eternal youth, pretty much making them immortal. This is why the world government is willing to pay an incredibly high bounty of 5 billion berries to anyone who can deliver this fruit to them. Before we cover the strongest devil fruit in the entire show, let's first quickly go over these two mysterious fruits first. Okay, these are not yet fully confirmed, but from what we've seen in the recent chapters, it seems that these fruits will be amongst the strongest in the series. And the first ones are the Gorosei devil fruits. In chapter 1085, we've seen all 5 elders seemingly transforming into animalistic creatures, which Sabo has described as demonic looking. Although it's currently unknown if these transformations are the results of devil fruit powers or something else entirely, many fans speculate that these are probably some kind of Zoan devil fruits. Their place on the list is purely hypothetical at this point, but it's certain that they're incredibly strong. Another speculative entry on this list is Inu, who we see transforming into a massive beast-like creature capable of consuming fire. From what we've seen so far, Inu doesn't appear to have a solid body, and instead he constantly morphs and changes shapes like a shadow, even looking cartoonish sometimes like Luffy in his Gear 5 form. They also controlled what appeared to be a sharp-pointed arrowhead or tentacle, strong enough to severely injure even the Logia user Sabo. Again, Inu's place on this list is purely speculation, but since they are expected to be One Piece's final villain, they are bound to be extraordinarily powerful. Number 1. Hito no Mi, model Nika. Hito no Mi, model Nika, is a mythical Zoan devil fruit that was eaten by the one and only Monkey D. Luffy. This fruit enables its user to transform into a sun god, giving them a rubbery-like body. It's said that its powers are only limited by the user's imagination. For some reason, the world government is terrified of this fruit, and they've tried to obtain it for over 800 years without success. The government even went as far as to completely erase the Nika fruit from history, giving it the name Gomu Gomu no Mi and pretending it's just a basic Paramecia fruit. Once Luffy awakened the fruit's true powers, he was shown doing ridiculous things like transforming into a giant, cartoonishly stretching his body, bending the environment around him, and even stretching lightning itself. Although the powers of this fruit are absurd, there is some limitation to them. For example, Luffy can't stretch things indefinitely as they're bound to tear at some point, and the fruit puts enormous strain on his body, which leads to him turning into an old man once transformed. Click on this video where we explained what would happen if the strongest One Piece characters had devil fruits.
The story doesn't end here. Make sure to subscribe, like, and turn on notifications so you'll be the first to witness what happens next, only on Fatebound Realms. Still next time, have a lovely day.